Hi guys and gals, Froggy here. This is part, I don't know, 3 or 4 maybe, of fixing the servo motor in this Lexus IS300. It's the air mix door servo. What that means is it controls your hot to cold temperature. And the previous video showed you the repair that I made, and you can find that on my channel. And now I'm going to show you if it works or not, and I'm going to show you the reinstall. So I plugged it in. I plugged everything back together except the servo is not screwed into its proper position. So this arm is going to move a door over there when it's screwed into the proper position. So let's turn the key on and see what happens. Alright, key is on, and I'm going to move this temperature switch. I can't show you both of these, so the arm is moving, and I don't have that nasty chainsaw noise, so I think we have a winner here. I'm just going to manage to fasten it back into its location, and I'm going to call it good. Okay, so I'll get back. Okay, this is going to get complicated, so pay close attention. The servo has to be indexed to the temperature that you have it set on the dash and the position of the air mix door. Let me explain that to you. When I took this all apart, I marked the position of the arm. You see that little white dot there? That was the position of the arm when I took it off. Now, right now I've got the electric motor off, so I can spin that arm 360 degrees around if I take this top cover off. Now the top cover, this camera work's going to be really bad, but I'm sorry, I'm going to do the best I can. Alright. The big gear has a stop on it. My finger is right pointing to that stop. And the cover, the top cover, has a stop too. And it's right dead center there. Whoops, oh, I don't want this to fall down. Sorry. I'm balancing it on my leg. So you've got a stop on the top cover right there where my finger's kind of pointing toward it, and you've got a stop on that big white gear. So when you put the cover back on and when you put the electric motor in, which goes where my left finger is pointing right there, the arm has to be in the right position for those two stops to work. Those are the limits of what, you know, will make the motor stop. It'll hit those two things in two directions. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to set the temperature on full cold, the air mix door down, which I believe is the cold position, based on the description I was getting from my son, and then I'm going to put this arm, I don't know, I'm going to try to put the arm up against one of the two stops. It might be trial and error to figure out which stop it has to be up against. I'm going to try and look and figure out by looking at the position of the arm, the position of the door lever and the door. I'm just going to try to figure it out. But I just wanted to give you a preliminary heads up on that's what you're dealing with. So when you take yours apart, mark everything and be aware that there's indexing going on. I didn't know that when I first took it apart, but I know it now. Wow, I had to fight to get this son of a gun out. This is 1/2 of the ductwork that is closest to the center console, you know, there's that other ductwork that was way down there that I took out. This is another piece, and there's 3 fasteners, one there, one there right in the center of the screen, and one on the bottom right there. You can see they're all kind of chewed up where I pulled them off, but you've got to get this off so you can see what you're doing in there. Now I can see where I'm going with that servo, and I'm see here's the door. That's where the pin's got to go in the door. So you got to get the half of this ductwork. The other half can stay in there, but half of it's got to come out. So that's out. Now I got to get in there a little bit more. I want to show you where this orientation of this the arm is. See, the arm is way down there. I think I've got it wrong, so I'm going to take the whole thing out and reposition the arm. Remember I told you about indexing the arm? Well, I've got to find a different location for that arm, so it's coming out. When I turned the ignition on, I got it all plugged in and everything. The arm came towards the camera about 1.5 inches. And now I think it's in a position where I can hook it up to the door, to the air mix door. So I'm going to try and put it back in now, and I'm going to try running it through the range of motion using the temperature middle dial. And before I put everything back together, I want to see that it's working, obviously. Okay? So I didn't take it apart again. I left it indexed the way I thought it should be indexed. I really wish I could describe this better, but it's a little hard to do. Just mark yours when you take it off. Mark everything, and don't spin the gears around the way I spin the gears around. Just leave them alone. Fix your motor where your motor connects with that yoke thing that I told you about, and then put it back together. And don't change your temperature setting. Don't change where the arm is indexed. Just mark where it's indexed. Mark everything before you start taking it apart. Okay, I don't have any screws in. I've just got it in there now. Obviously, it was much easier to put it back in when that arm wasn't up against that other white piece there that wasn't supposed to be. So now I just turned it on. I moved my dial on the dash. Whoop! It fell out. But hold on, let me. I'm gonna have to get a screw in there, I guess. I'm going to grease this up good before I put it back together. I'm not going to use the white lithium grease. The stuff I have, it's in an aerosol can and it's very thin. This is high temperature, low temperature silicone grease. I think it should serve the purpose fine. You don't need to put a lot of it on there, really. You just need to get it in the right place. Okay? Just put it on that silver pin and put it on the little door arm. There's 2 arms. There's an arm that comes off of the servo, and then there's another arm that attaches to the door, and they meet together at the silver pin. Okay, let me show you where I'm going to grease it. There. I have to put the light off center a little bit. You see that squiggly line there? That squiggly groove? That's the arm for the door. And then above it is the arm. Oh, I'm going to get it on camera. Right there and you can see that little dot. That little dot is the pin. That's the arm off the servo. So those 2 arms come together. The pin in the servo arm goes in the groove in the door arm. And that's the only place you need grease. You don't need it anywhere else. Okay? Alright, here's the big show. I got 1 screw caught in the top there. And it goes up. That's the high high heat temperature setting there, and it goes down. That's cold air, and let's see if we get a little movement. Yeah, you have to kind of play around with it a little bit. Those in between settings. The high heat settings seem to work pretty good. Let's come down, lower, lower. I'm doing like 1 degree at a time. There seem to be a couple of kind of dead spots where it should be moving another degree or so. Actually, that's because it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom of the temperature range. The door is fully closed. So if I go up to about 75, there, 75, it starts to open up the door, and then I go up to 80, 82, about 82, it's up to the top of the door. So I'm assuming that's working correctly. I'm going to button it up, and we'll see. I know the noise is gone, so we'll see how she goes. Let me try starting the car. A little colder temperatures, hotter temperatures. Alright, I'm not going to do much more until I button the rest of it up. But Froggy's happy. Let me first I'm going to put this half of a ductwork here, and I'm just going to reverse all the steps. I'll give you a couple more video shots as I put it back together. Obviously, I'm going to put all the screws in. There's 3 screws that hold the servo on. This hole here doesn't have any. There's a hole in the servo, but it's probably used in another car, a Toyota or something. This is. I'm going to put all my screws in because it's going to be hard to do them once I start putting ductwork back in. Okay. All right. Got the top screw in. I got the bottom screw in. And the bottom one, you got to go in between the pipes and just go slowly, and this Phillips head screwdriver is going to be the right length, and it's going to be on an angle anyway, so you're pushing on the screw on an angle. So go easy, otherwise you'll chew up the screw. The top one went in pretty easy. Now I got to get the back one, and that's blind, so I'm not even going to show you a video of that, but you got to do it all by feel on the back one. Just go slow and easy. You'll get it. Okay, getting those 3 screws in. This one's easy on the top. The bottom one is in between the 2 pipes. And the back one is in back of the back pipe and just straight on in. The last 2 are very hard to get to, so be patient, and you'll get it in. Now I'm going to put the other half of this ductwork back. 1, 2, 3 snaps. 3 snaps there. Well, it sure goes on a lot easier than it comes off. 1, 2, 3 snaps, and then your last screw goes up here, and it holds this other servo that we didn't have to bother with, but it holds that servo, and it holds this ductwork also. Don't forget to plug these 2 white connectors together, and it fastens down onto, I believe, the other piece of ductwork. There's a little locator pin here. Okay, this is the last piece of ductwork. Before I get it in there, I wanted to show you that locator that I just talked about on this white switch is going to go in that hole right there to locate it, and then your last shiny brassy screw is going to go up through this hole down here, holding up the ductwork, and the rest of the ductwork is just snaps on. You'll have to do some fancy twisting and turning to get this in. I believe I took it out through the bottom, so I'm going to try going back up through the bottom. There's a nice space in the bottom. There's a black wire bundle that runs across the blower motor, and there's actually a little groove that it sits in to get it up out of the way, so that the black plastic covered part goes down. The white contacts go up and go into that hole that I told you about before, I showed you before, and there's one final screw in the bottom that goes up into the blower motor. Well, that's pretty much it, with the exception of putting the glove box cover back on, which is a trivial matter. So what can I tell you? The keys to this job, I would say, make sure you've got the right servo first. That means taking the glove box out and reaching in there and working the controls on the dash and watching your servos and see which ones work and which ones don't work and which ones make a noise and which ones don't make a noise. So figure out which one is the one that's broken, and then pull it out like I showed you. Key to that is having the right size Phillips head and the right length Phillips head, and you can get it out. Also, that section, both sections, the bottom section of the ductwork and half of the top section of the ductwork have to come out. It'll make it a lot easier on you if you take them out, and I figured that out. And what else? Make sure that you mark the position of the arm on the servo before you take it apart, and don't move any of the gears. Otherwise, you're going to have to figure it out the way I figured it out. It's not impossible. If one of the gears does move, you can do what I did. Basically, I hooked it back up after I repaired it, and I held it in my hand in the correct orientation that it would be in when it was screwed back into place. And then I watched the way the arm moved, and I imagined in my head which way the door would want to move, and I could see whether those things worked together or didn't work together. And I showed you the first time I had it oriented the wrong way, so I took it and moved a little bit, and then it was the correct way. Feel free to post up comments if you need any other help with this. If you have any other particular questions, I'll get back to you. If this helped you out, give me a thumbs up. If you want more from Froggy, subscribe to my channel. It's free. Froggy out. See you later, guys and gals.